Alright, so in the last video, we pretty much finished our homepage with the exception of one element, and that's the bottom app bar, bottom nav bar. And there's a difference between the two. In an app, I'm sure you've seen this in the apps you use daily. The bottom nav bar allows you to go to different areas of the app. Usually there's a home page, a settings or account page. There's usually notifications for some apps like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. Yeah, and usually also some sort of search, especially for social media apps. The app bar we're going to build today is not the usual rectangular one. So a normal app bar would be, just a rectangle like that, probably with a feel of white, or depending on the platform you're on, it could be a different color. It could be the primary color of your design. Let's just give it an effect to separate it from the background. Again, we're going to remove any Y, just so that it can pop off. If you look at our benchmark, there is this little lip up at the top of the app bar itself. How do we achieve that? How do we draw something of that sort? And this is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about combining simple shapes to form a more complex one. So let's first get started. Let's start by increasing our app bar height. On top of this basic rectangle, there's that little tab-like, almost semicircular shape. So how do we do that? We're going to go ahead and just draw a simple ellipse. It doesn't have to be a perfect ellipse, just something that can mimic the shape. So make it centered and push it just above the rectangle. We're going to get rid of this drop shadow for now. We are going to select the two and we're going to change all the colors there to white. Right now it might be a bit hard to see, but what we're going to do is actually up at the top in the center, you're going to see this little icon with two squares basically smudged together. This allows us to do a number of different things, and we're going to see how to use the other options later on in the course. But what we want to do right now is use the union selection. So what this does is it combines both shapes, or however many shapes you have, and creates one unified shape. Right, so we're going to give our unified shape an effect. We're going to give it a drop shadow, and again we're going to make the Y 0. Now if you don't look at it too closely, I'd say they look pretty identical. Alright, so there you have it. This is how you draw a complex shape in Figma other than using the pen tool. There's numerous ways of doing it. We could have used the pen tool and drawn some funky curves. However, the pen tool is a bit finicky, especially if you're just a beginner. And this, in some use cases, this is a much better option to use. Much simpler, it will take you less time to do. Well, almost. Next, we are going to add some icons. But first, always remember to label your layers. So this is not just a union layer, this is our bottom nav. There we go. Now, we're going to add some icons to it. First up, we need a logo. Now, I didn't ask for permission to use any of that intellectual property, and I'm pretty sure a logo falls under that. I don't know if they'd be pissed or, cause trouble, so I'm just not going to try to poke the hornet's nest. I'm just going to use a random icon for that, right? So again, we're going to pull up our material design icon plugin, and we're going to look for the network or Wi-Fi tethering is what we're looking for. So that's the one we want. We also want a couple of others. We want a document, I think, or article. No, not that. Yeah, it's a bit fiddly getting the right name. So we're just going to use that. And finally, we're going to use a person. Let's try to see if we can get a rounded one. Doesn't make much of a difference, but I'll take it. Yeah, it's a bit tricky because these come in frames. You find yourself often not moving the frame, but instead moving an element beneath it. It is a bit annoying, right? So let's just center this guy and move it up a bit. We're also going to give all of them a size of 30. Remember to toggle on lock aspect ratio. That way you only have to change once. Next, we need some text. The first one would be, actually, I'm just going to move this up a bit, even further up, like there. Let's get rid of this guy for now. Just move him up there. Yeah, right up at the top. Now, let's give it some text. So here we're going to say safe border. shouldn't be Inter, it should be ASAP. That is the font they use, and we're going to use bold. We're going to give it a size of 14. Right, 11. Now let's move this guy up there, center him, and let us just drag him to the side and then drag him to that side. So here's going to be orders, and this one will be my account. Next, we're going to first of all vertically center these guys and then group them. Again, we're going to rename that to my account. You can name it whatever you want, but I just find that it makes more sense to name it with something that will give it meaning. Let's just group that as well, and we're going to just change it to orders. Actually, this guy seems a bit big, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink him a bit. I'm going to bring the text right up. Let's move that down one. And we're going to make sure that this text in particular lines up with that. Okay, so let's take these back down to 24. Let's group that guy again. I'm going to say logo. All right, now we move this guy all the way up there. All right, then next we're going to select all of them, and we're going to use this option here, align bottom. So that will align them all at the bottom. We're just going to group that, and then we're also going to group this. I'm going to name the entire thing bottom nav bar. Great, so what we need to do is now tidy things up. Okay, so there you have it. We've pretty much finished, we've completely finished our design for the home page, at least. Now, the keen-eyed among you might have noticed that what we've actually designed looks nothing. Well, there's some semblance, maybe like distant cousin sort of semblance between our design and our benchmark. These two maybe share like a similar nose or something, but they're actually not the same. And actually the text is quite different, but there's good reason for that. This is what we call a wireframe. What we've made is a low fidelity. Well, this is somewhat higher fidelity, and we're going to be talking about wireframes in the next videos and what they are, why we use them, and how they can help our designs look better and more professional. If this is the first video you're watching, it's actually part of a UI UX course for beginners that is free on YouTube. So get subscribed and maybe go back and watch the first videos. I'm sure you could pick up a few things here and there from that. So I will see you in the next videos.